Hello, you are all welcome once again to another edition of Wednesday Palaver. I would like, on behalf of the Socialist Forum of Ghana and then Pan-African Television, to welcome those who are with us here in studio, but more especially those who are following us at home and through all our social media handles. I'm very happy to have all of you to yet another edition of Wednesday Palaver. We have been discussing, we have dedicated most of our time and energy in discussing elections. And last week, this platform, we discussed election 2020. And today we are having to discuss another dimension of election 2020. But this time with a focus on the media and its integrity. You know, with figures changing and the role the media has played in broadcasting the election 2020, it is important to take them to scrutiny and understand the role that they themselves have played. We know very well that the Electoral Commission has changed the figures. What has the media played their role, you know, into the stage in which we are today? So we are very excited, and today, unfortunately or fortunately, our host has turned a guest, you know, and it is important to also note that he is a renowned journalist himself. He has gone through most of these phases, and to have my own comrade and friend, Kwesi, to lead us through this discussion will be most important for this platform. So we know the usual trend. We'll listen to him for 20-25 minutes, maximum 30 minutes. We'll have some space for those sitting in studio to ask questions, give comments, and then we'll also go back to our social media platforms to take their views. We ask all of you to be very rigorous of all this discussion. Let's discuss the role of the media and question the integrity and whatever role they have played in the last few weeks. So, comrades, with our hands together, let's welcome Comrade Kwesi Pratt to the platform.
Well, friends, today I've simply been asked to discuss election 2020 and the integrity of the media. And I'd like to start by saying that this election has been like no other before. Since 1951, when we started having national elections to elect our leaders, there hasn't been any election like this one. This one is very unique. Now, what are the ingredients that make this election very unique? One is that even in opposition, the New Patriotic Party was making efforts to control the Electoral Commission. The New Patriotic Party has stated in the position quite clearly that it could not trust the Charlotte Osei-led that the National Democratic Congress the true situation in the Volta region. So it was that when the registration exercise was being conducted, a vicious campaign was waged in the Volta region, apparently to limit the participation of people from the region. Then, of course, you all remember the Tolimu affair, the study group affair, and how it was used in order to send troops and military hardware to the Volta region, creating panic and so on. So that also became part of the discussion about these elections and so on. Indeed, at every stage that this election has been organized and preparations have been made towards this election, it has become clear that the new Patriotic Party, which is the governing party, and the executive have always had the same position as the Electoral Commission. For example, one of those positions that they shared was whether or not indeed one could use the old voter's ID card as a nationality, to show one's nationality in order to be able to be registered and so on. They shared the same position. They've shared the same position throughout. It's also significant that this is the only election in which the Electoral Commission almost completely ignored IPAC, who is an inter-party coordinating body for consensus, for reaching consensus, almost completely ignored IPAC and did things on its own and so on. So this is the atmosphere within which this election was conducted and held. And indeed, given the tense atmosphere, it was expected that if the media played an independent role, that role, if played properly, could help to determine the truth about the elections and could help assuage the fears that many people had about the elections. First, I think it's important to look at the foreign observers and what they said about our media. The European Union, the observer team from the European Union complained about many aspects of the elections, but specifically said that the media, especially the state-owned media and so-called big media, was biased in favor of the government party. The African Union Observer team also made the same observations. Now, what did they see? What were the things that went into making those conclusions and so on? Now, in the run-up to the elections, all all the media houses created the impression that we're developing an independent capacity for accurately reporting on the elections. So some media houses set up election focus. Some of them set up all kinds of things under all kinds of flamboyant titles and so on. Indeed, one radio station actually proclaimed that it had 400 journalists deployed throughout the country, ostensibly to bring us independent results. Now, as things have turned out, in spite of all the claims that the media houses made, it does appear that the results they were serving the people were the same results that the Electoral Commission and the New Patriotic Party were feeding into the public domain. And there was no independent checks and so on. Now that is the crux of the matter. That's the crux of the problem. You know, I am not a dreamer. And I know that in an election when you have close to 40,000 polling stations, it is not possible for 400 journalists to have effective coverage. It is not possible. So, I'm not a dreamer. I know that no media house could have covered all the 40,000 polling stations and brought us accurate reports. You understand? So, if you had 400 journalists, I think the best thing that one could have done was to determine what you could do with 400 journalists effectively. In order not to be dependent on government and not to be dependent on the Electoral Commission for figures. And in order for the media to establish its neutrality clearly. Now, as it turned out, we made no such effort as media to establish our neutrality. We made no such effort to be independent. And in fact, 90% or more of the Ghanaian media only reported what the New Patriotic Party had provided for them or what the Electoral Commission had provided for them. To the extent that all the mistakes that the Electoral Commission made were made by the media. So when the Electoral Commission itself came around and said, well, we made a lot of mistakes and changed the results 6 times, the media was left hanging. That's a problem. That's a serious problem which has seriously affected our credibility as media practitioners. Now, if you look at the constitutional instrument, which was the legal framework for this election, that constitutional instrument was clear, you understand, about what had to be done. For example, one of the most controversial areas in this election has become the declaration or non-declaration of results for Techiman South. Now, the law clearly states that after all the processes have been finished, and indeed the election results have been attested to by agents of political parties, those results have to be pasted at the coalition center. Pasted at the coalition center. So if the law had been followed and the results have been pasted at the coalition center, we would not be having the kinds of problems we are having now. Because any journalist can go to the coalition center, look at the pasted results, and do simple arithmetic, and arrive at the conclusion whether those results could be real or they could be fake, and so on. We haven't simply done that. Now, there's something which is significant. On the day that Madame Jean Mensah, chairperson of the Electoral Commission, declared the presidential results, somehow, impulsively, I felt like adding things up. So I started adding up the percentages of all the presidential candidates in the race. And by the time I finished, I had 100.3%. I said, my goodness, something is wrong. Because this is an impossible figure. If the percentages were real, you should not be getting more than 100%. And the moment I got 103%, I said, somebody's mathematics or arithmetic is in trouble. You understand? And that immediately began to raise the alarm bells. The Electoral Commissioner came to us and told us that in declaring the results, they forgot to add the results of a whole constituency, Eswediaman, and yet they claimed that the percentages will not change. Now, how is that possible? The only way that is mathematically possible is when the results of Eswediaman are shared amongst the candidates equally. If it's 10, everybody gets 10. If it's 20, everybody gets 20. But for as long as the candidates are getting different figures, the percentages would also change. But then we have an electoral commission which came to us and said the percentages would not change. And this simple arithmetic problem was not even discussed in most of the media. Nobody was interested in it. Leading to the question, what is the media hiding? Madam Chinesa, in declaring the results, told us that there was only one constituency whose results were not ready and whose results were not going to be added to the tally. And that her reason for declaring the results at the time was that if you add all the votes in that particular constituency to that of President Mahama, President Nana Akufo-Addo will still be leading. That was what she said. Now it turned out that that was not the only result which was not in the tally, and that Techiman South was not in the tally. At least Eswediaman was also not in the tally. So there's a simple question that we ought to have asked. If you add Eswediaman and you add Techiman South, all the results to that of President Mahama, will it make a difference? Simple arithmetic would have told us that that would have made a difference. And therefore, Madame Chinesa did not tell us the truth. Her own basis for announcing the results at the time she did was faulty, and so on. Now, today, I'm reading the Ghanaian media, and virtually all the media houses, all of them, have joined the chorus of going to court. Go to court. If you don't like the election results, go to court, and so on. And I'm sitting back as a media practitioner, and I'm wondering why. Because I've looked at all the laws pertaining to election. I've looked at the constitutional instrument. I've looked at the 1992 Constitution, and I have not been able to find one law, who says that if you lose elections and you are not happy with the result, you must go to court. There's no law. In fact, what the Ghanaian law says is that if you lose elections, one of the options available to you is to go to court. So how come that the media in total unison, is singing this chorus of go to court? And then incidentally, this is the same chorus being sung by the Electoral Commission and the NPP administration. Hasn't this contributed in a way to damaging our credibility? Hasn't this contributed to people raising substantial questions about our integrity and so on? This lazy approach of not researching the law, this lazy approach of not looking really at what the law says and so on, is that not a problem? There is something else. There have been many demonstrations in our history. In fact, if you recall, at some point in our history, a demonstration led by ex-servicemen led to the death of, 5 or 6 people at the Christianborg Castle. Sergeant Adete, Corporal Atipo, and others. They died. There was mass looting throughout the country. If you recall in our history, Kobna Boni organized mass boycott of European goods, leading to riots and so on. If you recall in our history, some political parties resorted to terrorism, bombing stadiums, killing people and so on, stabbing people and so on, in order to make their point. In the recent past, I was involved in organizing Kwesi Pratt Jnr. At the end of the day, 5 or 6 people died. You understand? In 2012, when the New Patriotic Party refused to accept the results of the election, they organized a manifestation at Obra Sports. Cars were burnt, windscreens were smashed, people were beaten, and so on. And I've seen many, many such manifestations. And within the New Patriotic Party, for example, in the run-up to the 2016 elections, party people were beaten in their headquarters, motorbikes were burnt, and so on. One regional chairman was actually acidified to death, and so on. So are we not surprised that today, given what is happening, the media is hell-bent on creating the impression that there's chaos in this country? Read the newspapers. I have read the newspaper headlines today, and I thought that I was probably in Afghanistan. And I was asking, are these reports about Ghana? Because I haven't heard of anybody being stabbed in any of these protests. When the members of parliament walked to the EC, none of them was carrying even a walking stick. None of them was carrying a cane. Nobody carried a cutlass. Nobody carried a knife. And yet the screaming headlines portray a Ghana which has descended into total chaos. As a matter of fact, the only thing which I've seen in all of these protests, from Tamale, Bolgatanga, Wa, Ho, Kumasi, and so on, is the burning of lorry ties. That's the only thing I've seen. I haven't seen any demonstrator firing weapons and so on. And yet, to achieve a certain objective of demobilizing the people and demobilizing the protest against the elections, the impression is created that everything is going haywire. You understand? I think that we ought to be careful. All of us, as media practitioners, if we want to uphold our integrity, if we want the society to accept what we report, if we want to be seen as ambassadors of truth and so on, we should refrain from these needless exaggerations which are meant to serve partisan purposes. The Ghanaian media has a long history of struggle. The Ghanaian media stood side by side with Sajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah in the struggle for national liberation. It was the Ghanaian media which fought against the excesses, indeed, the criminal enterprise of colonialism. The Ghanaian media stood up and promoted the pride of the African. The Ghanaian media fought against excesses under all military administrations in our history. Kofi Bedu and others fought against the Busia government because they believed that the Busia government did not stand up for the values of the Ghanaian society and so on. The Ghanaian media has had such great journalists, like Kwame Nkrumah himself, like Kofi Bakum. It has great journalists recently, like Komla. No, that's not the one I was referring to. There's some great journalists in our recent past. Cabral Biami here. You understand? Cabral Biami here. Kwesi Jnr, who edited West Africa magazine. Kwabena Mensah, who worked on Focus on Africa. We've had great journalists. So many of them. You understand? We've had excellent journalists. Even like Kwesi Pratt and so on. I don't think that what is happening is a true reflection of the state of Ghanaian journalism. I think that what is happening is a demonstration of the extent to which we have gone in damaging the age-old tested traditions that the Ghanaian media has established as a champion of democracy and as a fellow combatant in the struggle against the repression of our people. Friends, these are my initial comments. I'd like to end here and to come back later to deal with questions and comments that you may have, and also contributions from our social media platforms. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Comrade Kwesi, for the submission. I think it is time now to turn to the studio audience and listen to your questions and your comments. So if you want to come to the podium, can I see you by hand? Okay, so you come first, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6. So let's make it short and then we move. So.
Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to express my view. But before I start, I said, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah once said, I'm African, not because I was born in Africa, but because African was born in me. So the media, you have to know that you are the fourth power. You be mindful of what you feed to the people out there because of what honesty, to hold your loyalty and integrity. At the end of the day, when you're coming on planet Earth, you know you stay by the rules. You are guided by what principles. So if you can't take the heat, you get out of the kitchen. So with that being said, you stay by the rules. To the people out there, the eyes and J. Mensa especially, I know they are watching. This is Pan-African. My name is Daniel Kwabna Asari, or Kwabna Asari Daniel. We have children of vision growing up to become better people. So you just don't come out and give out any results just like that. You need to be firm with what you're pulling out. It's like you being hired. I'm an owner of KFC, and I have a colleague who is I'm competing with, who owns Papaya. And I go and I'll be like, okay, can you spill some poisons into their food so that Papaya, when they come and buy, they'll have some challenges. That's the aftermath. What happens? Some will be dying, some will be complaining about whatever, and the rest of you, and me, the waitress, I'll deal with you, you're gone. But at the end of the day, the people are suffering. We have people that are looking up to us, like I said from the onset, children of vision. And this is Africa, we need to protect it. So it's like a comment, contribution, and advice to the world. That's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Hello, good evening, comrades. Ghana is now at a crossroads. We've been through so many elections, like Uncle Kwesi Pratt said. In fact, if I compare the last 4 years election to this one, and in fact the 8 years election after this very one, I realize that formerly you could see the various radio stations, people will be seated in their various media houses, and they'll be receiving calls from different stations, or can I say stations, or constituencies, announcing results directly to them. But what I noticed presently, in fact, I actually tuned into Joy News. What I noticed was that once in a while, the results just come in bulk, then they just add in total. Then I asked myself, how? Where are these people getting these results? It was later on reflections after we all got to know whether it's true or not, that all the results came from one source to most of the media houses in Ghana. Then I said, how can this thing happen? So this is where the media has now brought Ghana to. And anything, the way manner things are going, we want to say that anything at all can happen in this country. I also watched a video watched a video in one of the social media platforms where I saw one man, I think, Adomatri. He interviewed one Anochi, that is the IT specialist for the NPP. In fact, Adomatri asked him whether the Techiman results are in South results. And he said, only the presidential results are in, and that the NDC won the presidential results. Plainly he said it. He said the parliamentary. The NDC won the parliamentary, but rather the presidential results are not in. So how come all of a sudden it's in the news that the NPP won the results for Techiman South? This is where the media has brought us, and we hope they will undo things so that the nation state will move forward. Thank you very much.
Good evening. My name is Palaver Solomon. I'm the national spokesperson for Okada Riders Association of Ghana. It's a very wonderful day. I'm very grateful to be part of the discussion. As a matter of fact, I personally don't see anything wrong with the performance of Jane Mensah, the Electoral Commission chairperson, because I have no information as to what the person who hired her directed her to do so that she can earn her living, the allowances, salary, and what have you. Those who hired her, I think, once they are quiet, silence means consent. So I'll leave it there. What I want to say about the media is that I think we, the motor riders, the Okada riders, can't change the dignity or otherwise of the Ghanaian media. So I will suggest that even if there are 1,005 of them are good, according to the good old books, that if there are 5 good people in society, the good effects of their ins and outs or their activities will manifest and overpower the majority that are not doing well. So we are not giving out hope. We still have hope in Ghana. We still have hope in Ghanaian media. We think that if there are a few, even 5, that holds strongly their integrity and their dignity, they will do the right thing and bring back the lost integrity in them. I want to say Happy Christmas to all our viewers.
Good evening, comrades and viewers. Before the election, I got information that this government supplied vehicles, pickup vehicles to media houses, but not all media houses though. And I think those vehicles also was attached with incentive. So I strongly believe that this government connive with the EC, and the EC and those media houses socially engineered this election to be rigged by using the security forces. Yes, I strongly believe in that. And Ghanaians are very, very reluctant. But I think the demonstration should rather be should be vigorant, because I think if things like we don't put mad things into this demonstration, I think this will be the normal election of every Ghanaian of Ghana, because like it seems majority of us are relaxed, and we should put much effort, or otherwise it will be our destiny. Because if it become our destiny, then it means one political party will be ruling Ghana always. So I think much concern should be shown so that our election should be concrete and free and fair. Thank you.
Thank you once again. Good evening to viewers in Africa. For me, what I have to say is that the media should be ashamed of ourselves. We should be so much ashamed. And some of these media houses know themselves. There was a lot of instances, okay, where some people have been beaten and shooting to death, and no media, none of them has been able to come out to speak ill of these issues that has been happening. 2, some media houses put out figures that were wrong, and some NBC people on some platforms even have to bring it out in their face that this was what you people were doing, that you should at least have the manners to accept and apologize to Ghanaians. And none of them had the courage to do that. And some of them, even with their degrees and everything, had to even defend it when the truth was right in their face. Finally, the EC chairperson is not being a mother, because it will only be a reckless and selfish housemaid that will leave food on fire to go and have some nap, forgetting the fact that the house can catch fire, forgetting the fact that apart from the fact that the children might be suffering, going hungry, and she is the only mother that can prepare the food very early and serve the children, she leaves us to go to sleep. There has been a lot of concerns being raised by the NDC, and this woman filed a report to go on a leave whilst there is food on the fire. Is she serious? At least she should be a mother for once. A lot of things have been said about her. She should prove for once that she is different from what people are calling on her. She should prove to Ghana and Africa and protect the face of our democracy. And finally, there has been a lot of words coming out from a lot of people that, the youth, they should think about themselves and you shouldn't go out there demonstrating. And for that matter, John Dramani Mahama and the big NDC people, their children are in the house. I'm sending this across to them, that there are a lot of people demonstrating out there. They are not demonstrating for NDC or John Mahama. They are demonstrating for their future. There are a lot of people out there demonstrating today for their future. And for that matter, if you are joking with my life, remember what Dr. Kwame Nkrumah said, that change, when it's too long denied. I won't add the rest. Thank you.
Hello, good evening. About this today, I'm on the media. I'm very angry. The reason why I'm angry, because some of the medias that we have, especially this Palaver mortuary, because on the 7th December, I was watching Metro. So I thought all the figures that he was giving, it was accurate. Later on, when the J. Mensah came out, declared the election, and he said she was wrong. I want to ask Paul, all those figures that he put there, has he also made the corrections? You see, if the last time I said here, if we don't take care, there will be bloody in this country. We need to solve this problem now. Look, you can't just joke with people's lives. People stood in the stand for 5, 6, 7 hours to go and vote. And you come out and tell me that you declare election, the results, and later you tell you made an error. And you want me to clap for you? You see, why are we behaving like this? And what pains me is everybody is talking about peace. That is boring me all the time. If there is no justice, you can never get peace in this country. Look, we know Jay Mensah is working for the president. Look, all those media, some of the media houses, they were working to make sure that this government is still governing this country. But you can't force us to still govern us. It's not by force. Look at the vote margin. Ghanaians came out to vote. They really want change. Things are not good in this country, and they are there pretending as everything is okay in this country. Look, people who are saying they will not speak, be there. And you think whenever it happens, where do you think you'll be going? They will chase you. Let's come out and talk about this. Look, none of these media houses is talking about this election. Everybody is saying go to court, go to court, go to court. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, all of you, for expressing your independent views. We'll now go to Facebook to read the messages that we have received from our viewers. Kwesi, I know you don't like some of these messages, but because they are expressions from our viewers, I'll read them. They all seem to be happy with what you have submitted. Gideon says that God bless this man because he is the only man saying the truth so far. Patrice John Kofi says, I love you so much. You are very analytical. Elolo Makavu says that Kwesi Pratt is the epitome of wisdom. Samuel Atta, both EC and the MPP Podol media were collating their results from Joe Anoche, Gabi, Asante Bediato MPP Coalition Center. God, Eddie Peza says, God bless Uncle Kwesi Pratt. Imoro says that the hard truth, the media paymaster is Nana Addo. Hanson says, all is clear. Salute to Pan-African Television. Haj Kahuro says, Uncle Pratt is the only outstanding man speaking the truth in this moment. Najib Sakib says, scientific socialist analysis from a true patriotic citizen. Sadia says that watching live from Belgium. Hassan, Honorable, says this man is a man of independent mind indeed. My respect is going up to you. Francis Agbenyo says, good work done. I always listen to your submissions. Rich Young says, may Almighty Allah bless you, my boss. Osman says, wisdom is talking. Kwame Sapon says, you're doing well to support the cause of the ordinary people. Fatih Abubakari says, may the Almighty Allah bless you and give you long life. Ibrahim Awal, yes, boss, Isi needs to come back again. We don't understand what is happening in our mother country. Augustine says, the TV station of the moment. Ja Bless says, my mentor, Comrade Pratt. Hanox Fiagbe says that, cosmic blessings, greetings to all of you in the studio. Na Adole says that, please, we can't hear you. I think there was concerns of sound, but I hope it's been rectified. Isaac Kusaibu says that, good work. There's still concerns, no sound, no sound. Tamid Isaka says that I would have been shocked if the media had acted differently than they actually did in these past elections. Their sole integrity was long confirmed. The NDC should concentrate on using grassroots mobilization to educate the public. I have lost the messages. Okay, we'll stop here now and take the messages from our WhatsApp platform. Okay, so we'll have feedback from Comrade Kwesi and then we'll come back for our WhatsApp platform. Comrade Kwesi, if you can address some of the concerns that were raised by those in studio.
Well, there isn't a lot to address. No questions have been asked for which answers have not been provided by the audience themselves and so on. So I'd like to use this few minutes to draw attention to some problems and to emphasize, to try and paint the path to the resolution of all of these problems. For example, I've heard from some of the leaders of the New Patriotic Party that, all of this can be resolved if we can only sit down and talk. I've heard people from the religious organizations saying that we must reach a consensus. We should sit down and talk and reach a consensus. Let's stop the demonstrations and so on. I want to believe that all these people are sincere. But if they are sincere, then there is something that has to be recognized. If we have to sit down and reach a consensus, it can only be based on mutual respect. We must respect ourselves. We must assume that each side is coming to the table with the national interest at heart. So when we have a situation when leaders in the governing party are referring to former President John Dramani Mahama as a crybaby, and are calling him incompetent and so on, it does not create the conditions for serious talk and reaching consensus. The disrespect that is being shown is frightening, and it cannot create healthy conditions for dialogue and for the resolution of the matters before us. Today, I've heard many things. One of the things that I've heard is about the invitation extended to Alhaji Honorable Inusa Fuseni to report to the Criminal Investigations Department. Today I've heard that the state is taking action against 11 members of parliament who tried to present a petition to the Electoral Commission and so on. I think that all these measures, to be very, very mild, to be exceedingly mild, are excessively foolish in our situation. This is not the period for escalation. This is the period where our leaders must be calming tempers. This is the time when our leaders must be making concessions. This is the time to make everybody feel that their concerns matter, that everybody is important. This is not the time to be threatening protesters with jail. It simply doesn't make sense. And I wish that our authorities will come to their senses and realize that when we are headed towards danger, that there's doom ahead of us, and that we should stamp on the brakes and try to build a meaningful national consensus. Because this threat of arrest, threat of shutting down radio stations, threat of shutting down television stations and so on, it cannot resolve the problems that we have. In any case, I've said it over and over again. You know, when some people are elected, they think they have become so powerful. I am powerful because I'm a minister. I am powerful because I'm president and so on. What they forget is that the power they exercise does not belong to them. The power that Nana Akufo-Addo exercises as president is my power, it's your power, it's our power. So let nobody deceive himself that they have extraordinary powers that they can use against the people. The power of the people is supreme. The power of the people is the ultimate. The power of the people, nothing overrides the power of the people. For those of you who are religious, you have heard before, said before, that the voice of the people is the voice of God. So let nobody deceive himself that he's powerful, and that they can use their power to suppress the genuine aspirations of our people. It will not happen. It has never happened anywhere, and is not about to happen in Ghana. Let our leaders think and be sensible. Let our leaders realize that the path to doom can be avoided, and can be avoided by us respecting ourselves and everybody else, and beginning to talk as people who share a common love for Kwame Nkrumah's Ghana. A word to the wise can sometimes be enough. When it is not enough, it brings about chaos.
I mean, the messages on WhatsApp are just so many. I don't know whether we can finish all of them, but I'll take as much as I can. Good evening, this is Adam. People should know that there is a judgment day. You didn't add when this judgment day is coming. Uncle Kwesi Pratt, God bless you for your presentation. From Achilles Alira Amomba. This one says, God bless you. You will live long for saying the truth. Nanado has been selected by Jen Mensa, while John Dramani Mahama has been elected by Ghanaians. JDM will always recognize you. We will always recognize you as our president-elect. From Newman Ishmael. This is from Harif from Tamale. Thanks to you all for making it all clear to us. This is no name, but says, God bless you, Uncle Pratt. This one says, NDC should not stop the ongoing demonstration. Demonstration must continue. If 100 people were arrested today, the following day there should be more demonstration. Not the prisons are full. If the prisons are not full, demonstration should not stop. By D.K. Wallace. This one says that we must get the right person in Mahama, please. Easy, come back again. This one says, Nanado has stolen the... No, I can't read this message, please. Can't read this message. Hi. If police are brutalizing our lawmakers in parliament, what you, the innocent, sitting in the house? Our democracy is in danger. Let's all get there and let our voice count. This is from King Hassan from Tamale. This one says that, indeed, I trust you. God will bless you for standing in the path of truth. There is no name. Okay, let me just take two more messages and then I can... if most Ghanaians are real, they should come to Techima and interview the indigenes if NPP won. They voted for change, and if NDC sits aloof, we will not take the right course. This man should have been given the job of the Electoral Commission. Thanks to you all for your submission. All right, comrades and friends, all too soon we have come to the end of yet another exciting edition of Wednesday Palaver. It is unfortunate we've not been able to read out all the views and comments of our social media followers, but we are very grateful for the time that you've taken to share your views with us. You are those who make this show what it is, you know, and the numbers and the number of messages that kept pouring in. I was very happy that it means what we are doing here, people are very interested in what we are doing. I also want to thank those who took time to join us in studio for your energy. You know, it was exciting to listen to all of you, and hopefully we'll see you again next week. But just to say, all of you should continue to watch, keep your dial on Pan-African TV. It is because of you that we are here, we are working for you. We will give you the best in entertainment, the best in sports, and most importantly, as we go into these moments of new heights in the process of the 2020 election, we are still keeping all efforts to bring you the exact coverage of what is happening in the country. And we call on you all to keep your dial on Pan-African TV. I would like to thank the camera woman, Sewa, and the director, and then the producers of this show. We are grateful to what all of you have put together. This is yet another exciting edition, and we'll see ourselves again next week. It is bye-bye for now, Pan-African TV.